All present here, respected HOD, Department of Management, Dr. Rinku Agarwal, all the faculty members and my dear students. I would heartily like to welcome our esteemed guest for today's session on how to plan for startup and legal and ethical issues, Mr. ANJAN PATHAK sir. The secret of getting ahead is getting started. This was a quote given by Mark Twain. With this inspirational quote, we would like to start today's session. Entrepreneurship is not just about starting a business. It's about having the vision to solve problems, the courage to take risks, and the persistence to keep going even in the face of challenges. To enrich our knowledge on entrepreneurship, we have with us today Mr. ANJAN PATHAK, co-founder and CTO of Vantage Circle. Mr. Pathak has spent the first 15 years of his career working in the UK and other parts of Europe. He returned to India in 2013, and since then, he has been building the product operations and marketing team at Vantage Circle. Mr. Pathak is a technology leader with over 2 decades of experience in building and deploying cross-channel web applications. Mr. Pathak's journey as a technology leader and fitness enthusiast provides valuable lessons on building a successful company and maintaining a balanced life. Now, I would like to request our HOD ma'am, Dr. Rinku Agarwal, to felicitate our distinguished guest with a Fulang Gamusa, Chapi and a memento. Thank you, ma'am. ANJAN PATHAK sir to carry forward with the session. Sir, please over the lines.
But that in world-class product like whatever we do, right, it is created from Guwahati. Everything, right from design to development to marketing, we do everything from Guwahati. We have got some sales team. So let me introduce you a little bit about Vantage Circle. So we are an R&R product. Okay, we can rewards and recognition. So in the software world, right, there is 2 kinds of products. Okay, 2 kinds of things. One is systems programming, which is about building operating systems and things like that. Okay. The other is application programming, which is what we do. The main characteristics of an application programming is that there is a database. Okay. So we save the data in a database. Whereas in system programming, when you build a OS, right, there is no database, right? So that's the difference. Okay. Most of the world, the software right now, most of it, okay, it's all our applications, basically, mostly our applications. But because if you think, right, how many times something like operating systems or a big massive networking application is built, it's mostly all applications. So if you think about Instagram, Facebook, any application like ours, these are all applications. Okay. So all these applications, what they do is manipulate data in the database. That is the primary characteristics. So I'm sure you guys use software all the time. That's why I'm just trying to give the introduction. Okay. But again, in some application, right, there is 2 different kinds. One is B2C, the other is B2B. Right? Now, what is B2C? Think about Instagram, Facebook. This is something that all of you use, right? It is B2C, business to consumer. Whereas there is another kind of software which is B2B, business to business. So our primary target audience is businesses. Now, that world is not known to most of you, probably, right? Because you have not worked in companies yet, right? So this is a massive world, like how many companies are actually involved in selling it to business, right? It's unthinkable. Not just software, by the way, it's a lot of software. I was just talking about Germany right now. If you think about some of the biggest of, so think about an MRI machine, right? No one, you and I, right, will not buy an MRI machine, right? Who will buy an MRI machine? An hospital. What is that? It's a business. So when you buy an MRI machine, right, you buy from a company which is very, very, very reputed, right? So that is the advantage of business to business software, okay? It's reputation. It works on reputation. So yeah, we have taken a long time because it's very difficult to create that reputation in the business world, okay? So now, luckily, we are India's probably number one reward sharing commission player. So this is a typical side of software you can think of. So CS, right? Tata Consultancy Services. It's called services. So earlier, all these software companies in India. I also worked for a very long time in services industry. There is nothing wrong about working in services industry, but the growth is a little bit smaller. Okay. If you think about some of the biggest countries in the world, like in Asia, you have Japan, right? So most of the, products that we use, like think about a Honda, the generator, for example, right? All these Honda cars, right? They are all coming from Japan, right? So in Asia, I think Japan is probably one country where there is huge amounts of products available. Right? Now China is also taking that too. But in India, earlier it was all services. Now we are trying to build products. Okay, and this certainly is one of the product companies. Huge difference. Okay, in product companies, what happens, right? Initially, the growth is very small because you have to invest a lot of R&D. Research and development. Correct? That example I gave, right? Like an MRI machine, right? An MRI machine doesn't get built on a day. It takes years and years of R&D, and after that, right, an MRI machine is built. But once it's built, right, you can sell a copy of the same thing over and over and over again, right? That is the advantage of a product. Okay. So once the product is built, right, we can sell. Like if you think about an iPhone, right? The cost of actually building the iPhone is about, I don't know, maybe less than $50. But that same iPhone is sold for $500,000, $600,000, right? What's the reason? Half of the cost is gone in research and development. Okay. So this is the difference. You guys need to really, because you guys are from business background, I understand that all our MBA and BBA, right? This is a very important distinction that we all need to understand. Okay. There is nothing wrong about services, by the way, because one of the best thing about services is that it's manpower heavy, right? So you will end up generating a lot of employment. That is for sure. That is why you see like Infosys will grow, right? They end up employing like 300,000, 3 lakhs, 4 lakhs employees, right? We know Wipro's strength and all because all their employees data with us actually. Okay. So yeah, that's the difference. If you want a restaurant or these are great businesses, but think about it. The growth is almost going to be linear. So suppose you open a restaurant brand, right? If you do well, suppose you open a restaurant and you do well, right? You will probably want to open a chain out of that restaurant, right? But then if you open another restaurant, right? Your manpower cost will be always high. Your infrastructure cost will be also high. So that way, right? Your revenue will increase, but infrastructure cost will also increase. So, but in other product companies, right, this is the difference. The biggest difference is that R&D cost is very high initially. Okay. But once the product is established, you can sell multiple copies of the same thing at the beginning. Like the cost of production becomes lower, your profit becomes higher. Right? So in digital businesses, if you think about it, some of the world's biggest companies right now are actually all digital companies, right? Think about Microsoft. Think about Apple, think about Amazon. These are all software companies. And their business model is almost the same because in software this idea, right, it's even better, right? You do a lot of R&D first and you then sell the same thing over and over again. Apple is doing the same thing. Microsoft, right? Think about the Microsoft Word, which is, I'm sure all of us use Microsoft Word or Microsoft Office, right? Cost of production is almost nil because it's just creating a license, new license, right? But they say bootstrapping, you guys understand, right? There is no VC investment, okay, in our company. It's all money that we have invested on our own, like friends and families. So yeah, it's not necessary that you have to always go for VC investment. In fact, it's better if you can use your own money to start a business and then get some revenue, and then keep growing. Okay? This is really important. Yeah. So this is just in a nutshell. This is how we were 2010 to 2016. So look at the growth. We are only about 20 employees, only about 20 people. And this is 2016, by the end of 2016. So it took 6 years almost to go from 1 person to 20 people. So as I said, like my co-founder, which is PATHAK, he is also from Guwahati, and but he is based in Delhi, right? So yeah, so these are the initial employees we had. Okay, but these are all from Guwahati, locally hired. And I think we started with, if I remember correctly, it was the technical department we started with, okay? Because I'm from a tech background. I'm from a computer science background. All my life, 14 years, right? I have done, prior to Pentasecond, about 15, 16 years, I was working in services companies doing internet stuff, basically. So yeah, my background is, my whole life is spent on the internet. Okay, so dot-com bust, I don't know if you guys know, in 2000, right? Yeah, I think it's 2000 basically, there is a dot-com bust. So I saw that as well. There was a lot of big companies on the internet which came around that time, but the bust happened and then it went down, and I witnessed that as well. But I was in London at that time. And yeah, and then yeah, this is again, like, we started with the backend team, which is the most of the technical stuff, and we hired some of the team in operations and then QA. So some of the people you see are basically, we started with mobile apps. Okay, mobile apps, whatever mobile apps you use, right? Similar kind of apps. For Pentasecond, we used to develop back then. We still develop. We are very strong in mobile app development at Pentasecond. By the way, how many of you guys are from MBA background? And there is 2 different teams, different classes, right? BBA and MBA. How many are BBA and how many are MBA? Can you raise your hand? BBA people, please. BBA. Okay. So most of the people are from BBA. Okay. Yeah. So I hope you are following me. Okay. If you do not understand anything, right? If I am talking a bit like very high level or it's going beyond your understanding, right? Please let me know. But I'm trying to cover as much as basics. Okay. The basics of businesses, how you try to do, business from here, and what you need to do basically. I'll talk about most of the stuff a bit later on, like how we do most of the marketing and all. Because I think I was told that this is more of a marketing background. So even though I'm from a technical background, initially, once I have done the technical bit, right? I mean, I have done for so many years that technology is not a problem. Like the basics of web technology is not a problem for me and my team. It's actually marketing, which is really difficult. Okay, so I'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, so this is what we are now. This is from the photograph is from the last Guwahati Marathon we did as a team. So I am also into health and wellness, I have marathons and all. So this year I wanted to make sure that I take my employees as well, and I wanted to make them run. So we were about 100 people who ran actually the Guwahati Marathon. Okay. By the way, this is another thing I think all of you guys should really think about. Okay, health. This is a time that now, well, there is no time actually. Health is always important, because what I have understood, okay, like if you do not invest right from a very young age, right, some of the things that doesn't even develop, okay, like the mind, right, our health, our lung, our heart, there's a lot of development happens when you're young, when you're youth. So be careful about your health, because this is the thing that will take you further. Okay, so anyway, so we took all our employees to this run, and a lot of people actually were so happy for the first time, right? They ran. What happens usually, right? People once, when you're young, I mean, when you're a baby and you want to run, basically, right? First thing you want to get up, you want to walk, and then you want to run. Right? Everyone wants to do that. But somehow, over the years, right? I don't know how many of you actually ran a fast 100 meters or something like that. When is the last time you ran? Okay. So running is a very natural movement. Okay, like very, very, very natural. In fact, if you go 100 years back, right? If you do not run, then you will not be able to survive. It's so basic to us. But then for the modern life or whatever, right, we have forgotten the whole thing about running. No one runs anymore, right? So I would really encourage you to like take care of your health. Basic thing, go to the gym or run or do yoga, whatever works for you. But that is very important because whatever you are doing business or whatever, right, your health is really important. So yeah, now we are about 300 employees. We have 4 products. We started with 1 product and now we have 4 products because we understood the building blocks of what is needed to build products. Again, not every product is very successful. Okay, some of the products we are still trying, but again, this is R&D, right? So you have to keep doing R&D. What will happen? AI will give you the same answer to everyone. What you need to do now? You need to modify it, right? So, and that is where your expertise will come. Do you understand?
And what about using their brain? Then they are not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The prompt is the brain now. Believe me, the prompt is the brain. Right now, I am trying to take some coaching for running. I have a coach. Believe me, I am finding that AI is giving me better plan than my coach can give me. Why? Because I have fed all the data now in the AI. So feeding the data, right, your background, your everything that you know about the business or whatever, right, that is your assignment. Okay, try to think it like that. How can you make the assignment different for everyone, right? Because it has to be different. It has to come from your core knowledge or core strength. So always think about what is your core strength. Maybe you have a core strength in marketing, right? Suppose you are, again, restaurant business, a few people coming together, right? Maybe one person has got very good knowledge about cooking. That is one of the main problem. One person can have marketing, sales, right? So all of you are from different backgrounds. So all of your knowledge, whatever your knowledge, right? You need to think, you need to put what is your strength and then create a prompt. Prompt engineering is very, very difficult, by the way. And I think that is where people are failing right now. I can see that there are multiple companies coming up with prompt engineering. So I think that all the software companies, right? Not all actually, yeah. But we were a corona-friendly company. In fact, now because employees are, our company is about making employees feel good. Okay, it's about building culture. Now, companies are struggling because employees are all remote. Right? There are a lot of remote companies. So for a remote company, right, creating a culture is very difficult. Think about all of you, right? During Corona, right, you did not know how to meet friends, or you probably studying from home. You did not know who's your classmates. Very difficult, right, to know overall how things work. So remote work is challenging. We do not, even at Manchester, right, we do not do remote work. Some of the employees in US and outside India are remote, but in Manchester and Guwahati, everyone comes to work. Because it's only when you come to work that you can build a culture. Okay? So during Corona, that culture started of remote work, and it's still ongoing. So yeah, companies are struggling about building culture in the company. And that is why our product, right, it helped them and it's still helping them. Makes sense? To build a culture.